The latest scandal engulfing the White House is really about Donald Trump's state of mind. It is about the fact that he's admitted he knew in his own mind how deadly the virus was and then told you and the rest of the nation the opposite. An admission to Bob Woodward that does also fit with Trump's longstanding problems dealing with reality.
I wanted to always play it down. I still like playing it down.
Yes, sir.
Because I don't want to create a panic.
Don't believe the crap you see from these people, the fake news. Just remember, what you're seeing and what you're reading is not what's happening.
Trump admitting he misled the public about COVID, just as he admits he is in an open, unending clash with the facts. That includes the nonpartisan press, the government watchdogs, all those independent prosecutors who find facts. It's an open effort to defy and lie about reality. Now, it's on display in this news scandal, but it is, to be clear, if you want to understand this news, much broader. Now, a Trump insider who had to get inside Trump's mind to help write his first book, The Art of the Deal, has explained it simply. Quote, lying was second nature to Trump. One more way to gain advantage. He argues Trump doesn't even accept the notion fully of independent facts because facts were whatever he deemed them to be. And I'm excited to tell you that's actually a sneak peek from a new audiobook out today from our friend Tony Schwartz. This particular item not co-authored with Donald Trump. If you want to get it, it's called Dealing with the Devil, My Mother, Trump, and Me, an Audible original. Tony, congrats on the book and thanks for being here.
Thanks very much.
When you look at this scandal, which is partly about Trump admitting it and lying, and partly about the consequences, how much of this comes from the original sin of him being, as you write, totally fact-free?
Well, Donald Trump has spent his life inventing a fictional reality that would replace the emptiness of who he actually was. And as he became president, that would allow him to say the things that he wanted to say that he believed would get him the approval he wanted. He has made this his way of life. And you do have the sense, and I've said this before, but I believe it now, you do have the sense that it's closing in on him. Trump is the most destructive human being, perhaps, of our times, but he's also the most self-destructive. And the real question is, will he end up destroying himself or us first?
Yeah. We have talked about some of those themes, but you put it very well there, Tony, especially amidst a pandemic which raises everyone's awareness of how the government's decisions affect your life. As you say, he has practiced destroying things and people because he's also practiced on himself. With the life he's led, with the businesses he's destroyed, with the bankruptcies, which then he lies about, but are documented bankruptcies. I don't say that to shade him. They just are. And so I'm curious, we take a look briefly with you at some vintage Trump and his notion of keeping it real and only using, as he calls it, some positive thinking. Take a look.
I've always believed in positive thinking. At the same time, I don't want to mislead. I also believe in aspiring, in terms of what you're doing, aspiring to protect against the downside. You can't just be this wonderful guy walking around, everything's positive, because unfortunately, that's not the way the world is. I love to tell people to think about the challenges so that when they do come along, you're ready.
Tony.
Yada, yada, yada. You can run, but you cannot hide, because wherever you go, there you are. And this is what my book is really, the story my book is telling. It's a story of my attempt to understand and redeem the choice I made around Trump 30 years ago to write that book. And it's also an attempt to do that by looking back at what propelled me to write it, and then afterward at how I could change my life in such a way that it would feel redeemed. And the truth, honest to God, Ari, the truth has set me free. The truth is something that has eluded Trump all his life, and he is the prisoner of his lies.
Well, you put it that way, and it is interesting that you tried to reckon with it, because I'm not going to say you're the same as Michael Cohen. Indeed, you guys are different in many ways. But you emerged on the national stage first in a much-read New Yorker, a reassessment review of the book, but then on our program and others, and people have heard from you, and they could judge for themselves. But you went through that process earlier than some others, and as you say, tried to bluntly deal with it. And yet now we've seen whether it's General Mattis and how much ownership or not he's taken, or other people who said they'd never put up with XYZ, like Ted Cruz, warned us that Trump was a pathological liar. You and Ted Cruz sounded the same on that point, but now Ted Cruz is laying in the cut on the Supreme Court list and buddying up to Trump for his own career, and it's all played out in public. Lindsey Graham, the list goes on. So it is striking that you're sharing that, and it's something that may be relevant to many people's lives, Trump being just an extreme version. So with our eyes on your new book, I want to read one other part for you to explain. You say that you were initially, quote, fascinated by the larceny in Trump's heart, his blithe willingness to set his own rules and define his own reality. That's that thing that we like in mafia movies, in rough gangster rap music, that you don't want to endorse the violence, but it obviously appeals. Did you have a Godfather-esque type initial fascination with the way he rolled?
You know, when I was 20 years old, I was doing an article for my college newspaper, the Daily, the Michigan Daily, and I was in a local jail, and I kind of fallen for a hustler named Putty Bowles, who said to me one day, you know, Tony, you're the easiest guy in the world to hustle because you have larceny in your heart. And my reckoning over these last 30 years and my attempt to redeem myself is out of the recognition that there was a Trump in me. There's a Trump in all of us. The worst parts of ourselves, the parts we disown and despise and avoid. And what I found was that the more I could own all of who I am, the good and the bad, the less I had to defend and the freer I became.
I haven't heard you say it like that. It makes me wonder out loud. Always be careful thinking out loud on TV, but whether that's part of what made him so watchable, both as a reality TV character and now as this political character, that the venality, like a mafia movie, is interesting. Embracing our own problems is important. Was it not Rick Ross who said, I am flawed?
I am flawed. And what I'd like to have on my tombstone, if I have a choice about it, is 3 words. He owned it.
What about Ram Dass? 3 words. Be here now.
Be here now. That's another good 3 words.
I have 3 more words for you. Are you ready?
I am.
We got to go.
Well, it's really been a pleasure to be with you.
Always a pleasure to be with you. I can't wait till we do these again in person, safety permitting. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.